So good afternoon. Welcome back to the channel on this fine Sunday afternoon. That is blisteringly hot, really hot. It's only about 12:30, literally about 12:22 local time, and it's already touching 30 degrees Celsius, which is pretty hot for the UK, especially at this sort of time. But what have we got to discuss this Sunday afternoon? Well, basically, David De Gea, word is coming out that Manchester United have offered essentially their last contract offer, last servings before we pull the rug. And this offer, supposedly, to David De Gea is a wage set in excess of 200,000, because at the moment De Gea is allegedly the highest earner at the club on 375,000, I believe it is. So it's guaranteed that United want to perform a wage cut for David to renew his contract. And basically, at this stage, we might as well consider it or calling it holding on to past glories, And for me, why Manchester United should feel it's necessary to do this. I mean, I know it's quite difficult with the summer funds being on the limited side, that you want to know that what the moves or the decisions you're making are going to be the right ones. And perhaps maybe it's a case that they're just thinking, well, sorting out a goalkeeper as well might be a bridge too far to get everything that we want to be able to do this summer done. But then again, you're an elite level board, right? The board for an elite level club, you should be pushing to get all sorts of business done. Everything that the manager wants to have done, you should get done. And if you're sort of clutching at straws and saying, well, if we can save some money in this area and save some money in that area, then it's like, really, really. And this is what the second summer transfer windows we've had for quite a lot of our managers in the past 10 years, where they don't get backed properly, where they don't get the targets that they want, because it's all, well, we'll renew the contracts of players who don't deserve it, for starters, and we'll basically say, well, we won't sign another player in this position that you'll actually need. What we'll do is we'll sign whoever's already in that position to a new contract and say, well, this person will put it out in PR or something that, oh, well, this player, he's ready to go to the next level. He's got the abilities, and the manager will get the best out of him. He'll progress the player to the next stage of his career. And seriously, it's round and around and around we go. Honestly, complete and utter shambles in terms of how the club behaves with that policy in place. But I think it's important with this contract offer that, with it still being a majority pay cut, the morality in terms of what they want, what the values that they want to be instilling at this club, are being kept consistent. So it's not that the board are now still bending the knee to the players. They're saying, well, no, look, we're taking back this control over our finances, over the wage bills, over player power, and all of this, right? We're eradicating, a step at a time, player power at this club. Because if it was the case that player power was still prevalent at this club, David De Gea would probably be sat on a contract renewal, probably about 450,000 a week. He'd be getting a pay rise. He'd be getting a pay rise and probably like 2 3 year extension. But we're offering a contract, but we're saying to David, look, take this pay cut. You'll take this pay cut and you will like it. And David's like, well, I don't want this pay cut. And they're just like, well, okay, then I guess you're leaving. It's as simple as that. Plus, I would say it's completely necessary that David leaves, because, I mean, one, he's been here long enough. Two, he's not giving the team, like, in the part that he has to play in this team, he's lacking, and he's had a whole season of playing to be able to actually progress and look like that they're getting better and more suited to Ten Hag's system. I think David's probably one of the few that hasn't really adjusted in the level that he needs to warrant him staying here, right? I think he's still, it's like in schools. I think it's in Spain, for example, in the education system. Like if you get to the end of the year and you don't get the high enough grades, you get held back a year. It's like David De Gea has been held back a year in his education on Ten Hag's football, right? So he's behind everyone else in his progression, and it's an elite level club. You can't be. You're as good as your weakest link, and if David De Gea is a weak link, we will only ever be as good as the weakest link, right? And that's as simple as that. It is as simple as that. Whether you want to say, well, but David De Gea, he's been a servant at this club. He has. He's barring Phil Jones. He was still the only person that's actually won a Premier League in the squad. The only person. But but this is the thing. Do we sit here and say, but because David De Gea has won a Premier League, he could lead us to another Premier League? Or do we sit here and say, but why would we hold on to something that used to work but now doesn't anymore? Because otherwise, you might as well say, well, it's like if you ever watch like Gordon Ramsay's Kitchen Nightmares and you see the deluded, like all of these delusional chefs, and they're all just like, but my food was successful 15 years ago, 20 years ago. It was really good. Everyone was so happy. Everyone loved it. Yeah, but it's crap now. It is absolutely god awful now. Because what worked 15, 20 years ago doesn't work now. David De Gea was a phenomenal goalkeeper, and we saw it about 5, 10 years ago because the game was being played en masse in a different way. So it suited, and the sort of football that United would play would suit De Gea more. It would suit what sort of game it is that he played more. But now we're changing. We're changing that blueprint, and David De Gea is like the piece that he's like a piece from another puzzle, and it's just like, well, this puzzle piece doesn't work in this picture. I mean, as much as it's a fantastic puzzle piece for an amazing puzzle, doesn't fit. So we shouldn't be persisting with it. So for me, David De Gea, should he be staying? Personally, no. I think it's about time that he takes his leave. Thank you for your services and your contributions. You know, you have won a fair few trophies at this club, but we need to go on to bigger and better things. It's the way the game works. It's the way football works. You got to go on to greater things. The game is always moving. The game is always changing, and we have to change with the game. As simple as that. So for me, David De Gea is done and dusted at this club now, and let him go off and earn his monstrous contracts in Saudi Arabia, because that's what they're doing now. I'm sure he'd enjoy it. Go for it. Take expand your esports as well, because I know David does the esports stuff as well. Expand your esports ventures overseas as well. Like, what more could you want with that? So for me, that's just how I feel about the Gea situation, and I believe that it's about time that he leaves. I don't want to end up sounding like a broken record here, but yeah, it's time for him to go. We've got Andre Onana linked to us, and I think that's probably where we should be aiming to go with that type of goalkeeper. Yeah, you never know. Andre Onana might, if he does actually come in, he might end up being the biggest flop of a goalkeeper, and everyone wishes De Gea was still at the club. You might have that. You might be talking about the whole catchphrase of "be careful what you wish for." You might be talking about that. We might be talking about that 6 to 12 months in the future. Maybe we are, but why? The thing is that you still want. It's better to change and try something different, right? And chase what we do wish for, right? Than it is to sit here and same old, same old, same old. Because if the same old stops working, then it's like, but then we didn't wish for this. You know, we didn't wish for this. We wished that things would stay successful, that things would stay ripe, and that we enjoy the low hanging fruits. But unfortunately, the success and the joys of this have gone. They've been flushed down the toilet. They're down the drain. So I'm afraid the sweetness of David De Gea being goalkeeper numero uno is now a thing of the past, and now it's time to go look to the future. Let's go to the future, guys. Let's go do it. Anyways, the second point of this video is Bayern München, the Bavarian outfit, are looking enticed by Mason Mount and potentially looking to stick their foot in the door. They're looking to stick their foot in the door. Just have to have a look here. So, reported here by Jacob Steinberg. Bayern Munich are stepping up their interest in Mason Mount and attempting to capitalise on MUFC's struggle to agree a fee with Chelsea for the midfielder. So he also then goes on to, confirm this. And the initial report was yesterday. The second report was today, that Bayern Munich are trying to hijack Mason Mount from MUFC, which it is what it is. It is what it is. But there's also a follow-up here that there is a possibility of Chelsea accepting a lower fee from a foreign club for Mason Mount. And now, I could sit here and cry about it and say, oh, United tax, it's not fair, we're charging hundreds of millions. Because the board, for the past 10 years, were accepting to overpay. Because the reputation of our board across Europe, not just this country, but Europe, the reputation of this board, and by the way, the same people, right, that are in charge of the board now were also the same faces that some of the people negotiating before, like when Edward was in charge. When Edward was in charge, the same faces, those same people, right, were seeing the same faces as they're seeing now, basically. Or the same morals, same principles and everything. So the respect still isn't there. So Bayern might waltz in and just stick 40 million on the table, and Chelsea go, yeah, there you go, have Mason Mount for 40 million. Meanwhile, we'd be sat here like, but we put 55 million on the table, and you asked 58 plus 7. You asked for 65 million for Mason Mount. Can't believe it. Well, the problem is that we can believe it, because that's, again, it's what the board, Manchester United board, has basically done to itself across the past 10 years. And that's the thing. It's probably done it for a little bit longer, but then again, we had better negotiating before Sir Alex Ferguson retired. So, it's one of those things. But not surprised, really, with Bayern Munich potentially being interested. I think it's probably going to be interesting to see, if Mason Mount says, actually, yeah, I really do like the idea of going to Bayern Munich. Because, credit to him if he actually says yes. I to be completely honest, I'd big it up. I'd seriously big up the transfer of Mason Mount to Bayern Munich. I would big it up, because it's, the player's ambitious. And he's like, well, I can't get the sort of ambition that I'm looking for in this country. So, I'll look abroad. And that's one thing that we see repeatedly. And I think one outstanding individual that I can think of where Mason Mount's ambition to leave Chelsea or to potentially move abroad to secure, a bit more of a guaranteed successful future is Harry Kane, who is basically the complete polar opposite of ambitious, because the guy's not pushing to leave. The most he's done is have the transfer request saga where he was linked to Manchester City when it all collapsed. Even if Daniel Levy's being a stubborn bastard, even if that is the case, doesn't matter. You're pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing. You're saying the same thing. Your tone doesn't change. You say, I want to leave this club. 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 I want to go win trophies. I do not think we can win trophies here. Just be cutthroat and honest with it. Be brutal with it. Because then you'll command respect of fans by saying, well, you're pushing to be successful. You're not pushing to be a goal scoring record player or a one club merchant. You're not looking to do that. You're looking to go be as successful as you can possibly be. It's like if, for instance, as an example, if Alejandro Garnacho, for quite a few people in this fan base is star boy, star boy from Argentina, if he then gets linked with a move to Real Madrid and he's like, yeah, to be honest, yeah, as much as you guys have been fantastic for me, I want to go chase trophies, and I think that I can go and achieve that at Real Madrid. I'd say, well, go get your money's worth. Go get your money's worth. If we are not as ambitious as Real Madrid, and Garnacho turns around tomorrow and says, I want to go chase ambition to win trophies, I'd say, well, that's absolutely fair. That is completely fair and honest. So go and chase that ambition, which is going to be at Real Madrid. So it's just one of those things. And if Mason Mount is going to chase ambition, and the ambition that matches his ambition is at Bayern Munich, and if he goes and says, well, yeah, cool, I'll go join Bayern Munich. Well, I can't, there's not a bad word to say about that. There isn't a bad word to say about it. But anyways, let me know what you guys think, whether you think that De Gea, whether his time at the club is done, or whether you think it is about time for him to leave. Drop it in the comments below, and what you guys would make of Mason Mount potentially going to join Bayern over MUFC. I mean, God only knows if we'll actually have a deal in place, because I know that our latest offer of 55 million still is on the table. It's still outstanding, and the board have said, well, the offer's there. If you change your mind, come sit back at this table. What I don't want to see is us entertaining anything over 55 million, because then it just means that we're still just as big a joke in negotiating as we've been for the past 10 years. And that it is as simple as that. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. Do be sure to destroy the like button and smash the subscription button. Turn your notification bell on, just so that you're kept up to date with when there's new content being released and when we go live. If there's plenty of things to talk about, or if there's so many things to talk about that I just feel it's necessary to just go live, and so we can just cover every topic. But yeah, if you do enjoy this content, remember, smash the like button, hit the subscription button, show your love and support, and drop your thoughts and feelings in the comment section below. And we'll be seeing you all again real soon. Ciao for now.